Hey everyone, it's Steph from the Lucy Bird. I don't know about you, but it has been more than 2 decades since I have gone back to school. But when I go hit the back to school aisle, I just get giddy with excitement about all the new supplies that are there. So I do a few stock ups at back to school time. One, because it's just irresistible. But two, it's the most inexpensive time of the year to get these supplies. And there are several back to school supplies that I use in my craft room and quilting room just for everyday projects. So I wanted to do a little video on the 9 back to school supplies that I stock up on every year. And then if you watch until the end, I'm going to tell you about a giveaway and how you can get your name in the hat to win a bundle of back to school supplies from me. And guess what? I'm giving away 5 bundles. When I came home with these items from the store, my husband was like, do we have a kid going back to school this year that I don't know about? Why do we have all these school supplies? But I wanted everybody to have the supplies I'm talking about today. So let's get started. The 9 back to school supplies every quilter needs to stock up on. Number 1 is crayons. There is just something about a box of nice crayons with their fresh tips, but you're maybe wondering, how does a quilter use crayons? Well, I actually use them quite a lot. Crayons are a really fun way to do unique designs on quilted wall hangings, pillows. You could do some neat placemats with these. So I'm going to show you a couple of the projects I've done, and then I'll show you how you can use crayons and how you want to heat set them. So this is just a project I did where I drew a design with crayons, but I actually did this more because I was trying to teach myself how to do free motion quilting. And so I just grabbed a piece of scrap white fabric. I drew on designs with crayons, colored them in, and then I did a simple free motion quilt around them. I added the legs, super easy, very fun, and then I just did a stipple stitch. So that was one project I did. These I've done, oh goodness, I did these several years ago. This was a little set of Christmas wall hangings where I filled in the design with crayons, and then I did embroidery around these. So just a nice little handwork project. And then these were actually tea dyed. So this did start as white fabric. I tea dyed it after I put crayons on. But I do want to show you that these are a little bit darker. And that was the result of several layers of crayons melted into the fabric. Then I would reapply it, reheat set it. So that's a fun little project. I have this Thanksgiving one that I did. This was also embroidery. And then I just started on this cute little Halloween piece. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Maybe a wall hanging, could also be a fun throw pillow. But let me just show you what I do for this. It's really simple. And I'm going to tell you a nice cheap piece of fabric actually works best. This is just a piece of muslin, and it works better than something that has a little wax on it or a little design, because sometimes the crayon doesn't set into that. So all you do is color, grab your colors. You can shade nicely with them. Just color in, do whatever you need to do. And then the trick to these is to use some pressing paper. This is from my friends at ThermoWeb, but you just take your design, put a piece of pressing paper over it, and then with heat but no steam, just press down, and that's going to heat set the wax of the crayons in there. And then, like I said, if you wanted to, you can just build on layers. So that's the first back to school supply. Crayons. I like the box of 64. Sometimes there's a box of 100. A really neat set they have out this year that I'm very excited about is the Colors of the World. And this is just a bunch of different colors for different skin tones, eyes, that sort of thing. So a fun little addition if you like coloring on fabric. The next back to school supply that I always stock up on is glue. I'm going to link below a tutorial I've already done on how to use glue to glue baste your quilt project. I use it most for binding, and really all I do is when I'm getting ready to turn my binding over, I run a thin little strip of glue on it, I heat set it, and then I take it to my machine and I don't have to mess with clips or pinning or anything like that. Number one question I always get asked with that is, does it gum up my machine? And the answer is no. It's dry by the time it gets to your machine because the iron has heat set it. So this is really great. It's washable too. This is water-based, so it washes right out. Third item is a glue stick. Now, I use glue sticks a lot for when I paper piece. A few years ago, I watched some YouTube videos and I learned how to paper piece from YouTube, and I started on the Farmer's Wife sampler quilt. I am this far along with it, so I've done a lot of paper piecing, but I found that when you get started on your project, oftentimes you're starting, from the middle and working out. And so it's nice to just put a little dollop of a glue stick on there to paste your fabric onto that, and then you can work out without that slipping, because you know with paper piecing, you're always working from the back, or, the back side of the project. So that helps secure it. This is also really great if you're doing a string quilt and you're working with foundation pieces, which is a little bit different than paper piecing, but still, it just helps that first piece not to move so you can focus on your correct seam allowance and making your project nice. So that's how I use glue sticks. Now, I always also keep a set of paper scissors in my craft room, and really always in my quilting bucket, because always there's going to be a time when you need to trim paper, but the only thing nearby is your fabric scissors. And we all know those beloved fabric scissors should not be used on paper. So I always get a couple of kid scissors. They're great for, if you need to trim out your paper piecing project, if you need to cut something. I actually like to get them in this small size, and that way there's never any confusion with what is a paper scissors and what is a fabric scissors. So go grab a couple of these. These were 2 for $1. Next item is pencils. Well, we all know they're great for jotting down notes while we're quilting. I actually like to use pencils when I'm marking the backside of half square triangles. So I always call them pumpy pencils. I know that's not their name. They're actually mechanical pencils, but I like to keep these all around my craft room, and I like the mechanical kind so I don't need to mess with sharpening them. Next item, let's see, little notepad. I actually keep this in my purse, and that way if I need to jot down something like I need a 1/4 yard of fabric to finish this project, I have it in here. I also, if I'm at the quilt store and I see a pattern or a fabric line I'm in love with, I can jot it down in here. I know we all use our phones for this a lot, but there is something about a little notebook in your purse for taking down a note. So these are fun to stock up on at back to school time. And speaking of paper, did you know that they have nice grid paper in the notebook section? So it looks like this, and you know what this is for. It's for sketching out your quilt blocks, or maybe penciling a fun design out. So you could color test a project, you could sketch out your next block. I like to use these if I'm designing barn quilts, which I'll do a tutorial on soon. You all have asked for it. But what a fun way just to see how something's going to look, fill it in with some colored pencils or some crayons, and sketch out your next design. And then the last item, this is by a brand called Pen and Gear. These were from Walmart. but these are just some numbered and numerical stickers, and I use these to make my own DIY quilt markers. I'm going to link to a video below I did on it where you can use either your Cricut machine, a paper punch, or really just use your paper scissors and cut up some cardstock. But I use these a lot when I am piecing quilts and need to mark multiple pieces, you know, the A, B, C. I just put these on a little piece of paper, then they're reusable, can mark things. But also, if you didn't want to reuse them, you could just stick them directly to your fabric, peel them off, and trash them when you're done. So those are the back to school supplies I restock on every year. Like I said, I'm doing a giveaway. So I'm going to drop a link below. It's going to take you to my website where you can put your name in, sign up for a giveaway. I am giving back to school supplies to 5 lucky people. So this ends on August 7th, so I'll have this open for a week, and then I'm just going to randomly select 5 names. I'm going to email the winners. I hope it's you. Tune in next week. This is Steph, and I'm the Lucy Bird.